It's Saturday, January 10th. It's time for an Oroville update, and since I'm just getting over the flu, I'm going to hand the flying duties over to my friend Carol Zerby, a DPE designated pilot examiner down from the Anchorage office, who serves here in Northern California during the winter flying season. Carol, you showed up on the scene here, about a year and a half ago now, and have dramatically changed the whole economic outlook of this airport with all the training going on to pass check rides with you. What's a little bit of background on how you got here?
Well, most of my life I've been in Alaska, and I have been flying since I was 17 there. My dad and grandpa were bush pilots, and I got my first job flying twin turbines for Peninsula Airways, Pen Air, when I was 19, so I was super lucky. And then I've flown everything since then, over 27 years of everything, float planes, ski planes, every kind of job you can have in Alaska other than flying for a major. So I've been super fortunate. It's been fun. And then a few years ago, the FAA made me a designated pilot examiner, which changed my life because primarily I can work in other places than just Alaska. A few years ago, they removed the boundaries for DPEs. So whereas we used to be contained within our one FSDO area, now as long as the need is met in the FSDO area, then they don't mind if I travel in the winters. So I'm there in the summers, fulfilling the needs for Alaskans there. And in the winters, I looked around for about 3 years until I found Grass Valley. And as soon as I got here, I said, this is home. So I love it here. I love the pilot community. Love the sun.
Yeah, in the wintertime, huh? How about this weather?
Amazing.
So tell us a bit about your YouTube channel there. One of the neat things about your YouTube channel is if you're getting your pilot's license and you want to know what it takes to pass a check ride, you better watch her channel, because she's going to tell you what folks are doing right and wrong on these check rides.
Yeah, so in the civilian world, debriefs are not as common as in the military or the airline world. And that should change, because the debrief is the biggest thing that we can learn from in aviation, single biggest learning opportunity. So after every check ride, a DP is required to give a debrief, but it's required to be private with the applicant. And so when I decided that if I saw the same thing over and over on debriefs, that I would then make a video about it, because then it would be able to address a hole in the training industry. So that's why I started doing it. And I encourage people who come to me for check rides to watch them so that they can be aware.
Overall, what's your opinion on the state of training today? Do we got a lot of young people training young people? Are we missing some big holes in our training?
There have been periods in which I thought we were at DEFCON 5 status for sure. Yeah. Lately, it's been looking up a lot. I think there are people who do care deeply about flight instruction, and then there are some people who are asleep at the wheel. And they're technically there, but they're not necessarily doing a great job. So for those of you who are CFI, strive to be the former. And one way that you can do that is by watching my videos. I have lots of them specifically for CFI applicants too. So I'm gonna have them all the way from private, student pilot, all the way up through CFI. And they're categorized as such on my website. And on my YouTube channel, which is Northbound Flying Channel.
You still offering them bush flying trips in Alaska over the summer?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I love training and I love flying the bush. I love going and having adventures in the bush, and Alaska is the only place on earth that you can do things like that. So it's a niche market. There's a few people who do want to come do it. They do need to have some tailwheel skills before they come. They need to have some mountain flying experience before they come, because this is the next level up. But I have lots of places that I have explored around the state for 30 plus years that I know the area very well. So I go places personally, me with my family, and we go have great adventures, pack the airplane full of food and camping gear and pack rafts and bikes, and just go at it for a week. And it's super fun. I live for that.
But you sold your mall recently.
I did. It wasn't getting flown enough in the winter. So now I'm looking to partner with a friend of mine in a 180 for year round, and he'll fly it more in the winter when I'm not there.
So guys can is it a bring your own plane sort of experience right now, or?
Yes. So for people who wish to fly to Alaska in the summers and then they want to know a little more what to do when they get there, then bring their own plane. That said, for the person with the right experience level, it is possible that they could fly the airplane I provide. And there also are some adventures available for people who aren't tailwheel endorsed and don't have their own airplane. So I do have access to plenty of nosewheel airplanes that I could utilize for such a thing there. And there's still amazing adventures that can be had in Alaska that aren't off airport at all, but people who haven't ever been to Alaska and experienced it before might be intimidated to do on their own for good reason. So I also offer those.
What about that glacier flying like you and Kellen did last
winter?
Glacier
flying is
spring
is the trifecta of my of my experience. I mean, to me, I live for that. And I try to go every spring to Alaska. This year's looking good because it's been cold and they're getting snow. So hopefully this year we'll actually be able to land on glaciers. Last year we weren't able to with the timing of when we went up there. But I first learned to fly on skis in my Piper Pacer, a $29,000 airplane. So you don't have to be rich to do this stuff, but you have to be very cautious and definitely should get some higher level instruction on it, because the results obviously could be pretty bad if you don't do it right. But yeah, I do that. I'm going up this spring in late March, early April for that.
And do you have an access to a ski plane? What you got, a Super Cub on?
Super Cub.
Okay.
Yeah, Super Cub on straight skis. It'll be parked at Lake Hood at right around sea level. And then should the snow conditions stay positive up at altitude and ice or snow conditions stay positive at sea level, then we should have a great ski flying season.
Great. Let's go check out Oroville.
Woo!
Alaska, gotta get back up there. It's been years since I've been there. It'll be fun to take the small airplanes. With DPE Carol at the helm, first stop is going to be Bullards Bar Reservoir, not far from the BLANCOLIRIO Global World Headquarters, on the Yuba River watershed. Now, I've hung fire on this update for about a week, and in this week, we've had no rain, with no rain in the forecast, so things are changing rapidly. So don't let too much water out, boys. Here's what the current precipitation looks like for the Northern Sierra in this geographic area located up here. Here's the average shown in blue, and here's this year shown in the darker blue. So it looks like we're a little bit ahead of average to date, but we got this big dry spell that's going to take us right back down to average if we don't get any rain soon. By the way, here's Bullards Bar Reservoir, located in the Yuba River watershed just north of Grass Valley in Nevada City. And here's Lake Oroville, located over here in the Feather River watershed. Quick layout of the new Bullards Bar Dam. This concrete dam replaced the original structure. This one was made in the 1960s. It's 645 feet tall. It's a variable radius concrete arch dam. It's got the outlet down here at the bottom of the dam, and it's got a 3-gate spillway over here on the right. In the future, they're looking at drilling a second spillway somewhere over here
at a lower elevation than this spillway to get further control of this reservoir. By the way, the maximum capacity of this spillway is 160,000 cubic feet per second. There's the Colgate Powerhouse associated with this reservoir with a over 5 mile long tunnel through the solid granite heading downstream to the Colgate Powerhouse. And here's that Colgate Powerhouse located way down here on the Yuba River, 5 miles away from the Bullards Bar Dam, with a tunnel out of solid rock feeding down to this penstock. And the main purpose of the Bullards Bar Dam is for flood control. And of course, the reservoir provides a lot of recreational benefit as well as the power from the Colgate Powerhouse. Next stop, Oroville, with the spillway in action. Now here's the main storage of water here for California, Northern California. It's the snowpack in the Sierra Mountains, and it's this snowpack that drives this delicate dance of balancing these reservoirs before the end of our rainy and snow season. So looking at the three different Sierra sections, Northern, Central, and Southern Sierra, we're looking at percent of April 1 average. That's the end of our rain and snow year, and the percent of normal for this date. So here in the Northern Sierra, we've got quite a bit less snow than in the Southern Sierra. So here in the Northern Sierra, we're only looking at 26% of our April 1 average. You know, we got quite a few months to April still to make up for that, and only 57% normal to date snowpack in the Northern Sierra. We've got better conditions in the Central and Southern Sierra. But this is the money in the bank. Now, if you're not from around here and you're looking at the ground here saying, where's all the snow? Well, it's up in the high country at a much higher elevation than Oroville. And that snow will eventually melt and be captured by the reservoir and will top off the reservoir around the 1st of June. Though our snow conditions in the Northern Sierra are looking a little bit light, the reservoirs are actually above historical average to date, and that's because most of the precipitation we've had as up to date has been rain. More rain than snow. So we're currently spilling about 7,000 CFS out of the spillway at the time of this video, and that's been tapered back down to nothing. And here's the Lake Oroville water level rising up to about 850 foot elevation. Remember, a full pool is 900 feet. So water managers want to gently bring the reservoir up and top it off right here, May, June time frame, when the rains stop, and then use that water all summer and fall until the rains return next winter. So this blue is this year, and looks like we're ahead of the previous 2 years so far to date. So there's your Oroville update, the nation's tallest earth-filled dam at 770 feet. Looks like everything's working as advertised. Let's get some more rain and snow. Keep an eye on Mark Finance's channel for the latest in weather updates, and go check out DPE Carol's YouTube channel, especially if you're out there getting your ratings. Thanks for your support. See you here.